Yo guys, in this video I want to share my thoughts on what's happening in the world and what kind of effect that has on the financial markets, but also my stance on Bitcoin and the 16-year cycle, because I personally believe that things from now on can actually get real crazy, especially what happened a couple of days ago when the former president of the United States got shot, which is actually pretty crazy. But yeah, let me first start off with sharing my location. I'm right now in the Netherlands, sitting in my car. I'm like right in behind some nice fields. It is good weather right here, as you can see. It is nice weather. Sun is shining, raining now and then, and just a ton of things are happening. And let me start off with the stock market, and then I want to go into Bitcoin and crypto, and then I want to go into the timeline this year, next year, and how things might look. And what I think right now, because that opinion is changing now and then, but what I think right now is one of the likelier events. And maybe also at the end I'm going to talk a little bit how you can prepare for that as well. So first of all, when we look at the stock market actually looks pretty insane, because the economy, global economy, is, the fundamentals of the economy are definitely not the strongest at all. We have seen a crazy high amount of interest rates. The increase of interest rates has been something like we have never seen before. Like something that came close to that was 2008, right before we have seen the financial crash. But we often don't see the stock market crash after interest rates, before interest rates being cut again, and that didn't happen yet. So when we look at the structure of the stock market, we have this rising channel, the channel I've been talking about already for some time. We broke that channel to the upside, and that basically means that right now we are entering the acceleration part of what I think is a bigger blow of top phase. So I think the coming months for the stock market can be pretty bullish. The coming months, maybe the coming weeks, as long as we are actually out that channel. So if we were to break back into this channel, that would be could be a signal of a start of a bear market in the stock market. I definitely think that's possible. But as long as we are trading outside of the channel and breaking out to the upside, I think we are going to see the acceleration, because we haven't seen the big bang yet. And the stock market is not correcting, it's just pushing higher. Well, the interest rates have been high for a really long time. This sooner or later will be expressed in the price. Why? But we often don't see the stock market crashes after, like before interest rate cuts. That's something we almost never have seen. So what you generally see is like the interest rates go up. This already creates a huge selling pressure on the stock market, but it has a very big delay. It can have a multi-year long delay. So the moment the interest rates are cut, that is the moment normally you have between 1 and 6 months still upwards price action, and then the market collapse. So it can be 1 month, 2 months. I think it's really important to look at that specific channel. So for the stock market, things might personally, I don't think things are looking good long term. In the next coming years, things are definitely not looking good, and I'm not the only one thinking that, because if we look at all the billionaires out there, like Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett, all these guys, they already have been selling all of their positions, most of them all of their positions. So they are already in huge cash positions. And they do that early. They don't wanna predict the exact top. They don't wanna get out at the exact top. I don't know if there would be enough liquidity for them to get out of the exact top, but they know exactly what they're doing. They already prepare right now. They think long term, at least for the next 5 years. They're now already taking parts of their shares, taking out of the stock market, and big parts, really big parts, like multi-billion parts. So these guys often have a very good track record. So often before big market collapses and market crashes, months in advance, maybe 6 months in advance, maybe sometimes even 1 year in advance. I didn't do research into the exact months in advance. These guys have that good track record, but often before a bigger market correction or a market crash, the big players, they already they already have been taking out their shares, and they do it in such a timing that you still that you don't, how do you call it, that you still be emotionally trapped in the market sentiment. So they do it at a moment where you think like, pretty weird, why do they like take out their shares right now? Price continues to go up. You might feel a little bit, oh, they didn't time it pretty well. And a couple of months later, the thing starts to collapse, and then you realize in hindsight, oh damn, these guys timed it pretty well, because they all often time it pretty well. So I definitely think that they see something coming, which is not visible right now. Interest rates have not been cut yet. They expect to do that this year. So that is the stance on the stock market. Then when we go to Bitcoin, and Bitcoin actually pretty crazy. Bitcoin made a low maybe 2 weeks ago. We longed that low. We have seen it on Worldport as well. The data was showing a very nice opportunity, a very nice buying opportunity. And now it's really important that Bitcoin is going to reclaim some levels on a weekly time frame. We have already reclaimed one level, that is the 21 weekly moving average, but the 20-week moving average we have not reclaimed. And we would like to see a reclaim of this level on the weekly time frame. But so far, the reaction in Bitcoin price looks very good. We get a lot of buyers stepping in at these levels, even though the German government was selling a lot of Bitcoin. So a lot of buyers stepped in, and we are seeing very bullish price action. And I think that corresponds with what we see in the stock market. So I believe that the stock market is going to go into this accelerated phase of this bull market, where things might go a little bit crazy, and that we are going to see definitely an acceleration in the uptrend, like with previous blow off tops, often before a big recession, often before a big market correction. We do see that acceleration. That was in the year 2000 with the dot-com crash. In the year 2008, right before the crash, we get that acceleration. And we also see that often with Bitcoin, right before Bitcoin enters in a bear market, we first have that acceleration, because the emotional state of the markets is reaching a certain extreme. So the pendulum swings from extreme bullish to extreme bearish, but it's always at the low where it is the most bearish, and it's always at the top of the pendulum where it is most bullish. So when it's swinging between bullish, bearish, and it does this in the longer term time frame, and it does this in the shorter term time frame, you always see that right before the start of a bear market you have extreme euphoria, and right before the start of a bull market you have extreme pessimism. That's because we have reached a certain extreme, and it's most dark before dawn, because in that extreme we are seeing the start of a new season, but it only occurs once the most darkest night or the most extreme period has ended. So Bitcoin, I think, is looking very good. How I look at right now at the situation, I think Bitcoin and altcoins can definitely catch a lot of liquidity right here. We maybe even see very short term also Bitcoin going to an acceleration, similar as the stock market. They both go into an acceleration up, so we get a lot of hype and mania coming back to Bitcoin. I think that is possible in the shorter term time frame. But I'm also going to be honest, I also think that especially with the stock market, things are actually a bit sketchy. So there are a couple of scenarios that I think that could happen with Bitcoin and crypto, and one of them is what if we would see something like a Great Depression again, or something like 2008, like a big market crash in the stock market. Like what would do good during those moments? And it's very difficult to say, to almost impossible. I can only give my opinion on this. So normally when a market crashes, you want to be in cash positions, right? You want to be in a cash position. Why? Because when the market's crashing, it's kind of like a bubble that pops. We are seeing the valuation of the stock market and individual stocks completely plummeting. Similar as with Bitcoin, in a big crash, you would like to be in stable coins, right? only in this situation, I'm not sure whether whether that's the best idea to do. I think right now it's very important, if you want to safeguard your assets, I think it's very important that you do diversify at some point. So I think there could be a scenario as well. What I'm actually trying to say is that if we see a market crash, I don't know if the dollar would be the best hedge. Because I think a lot of hedges like precious metals and maybe even Bitcoin, because of the situation worldwide what we're seeing, we can actually see maybe a lot of liquidity going to digital forms of currency, right? Like Bitcoin. Bitcoin could really take over, take over the function as a global currency once we are seeing, for example, a big stock market crash. People lose their trust in governments. People lose their trust in companies. People are losing trust in the current system. That is a trend that is following already. That's going on already for quite some time. And I don't know if you want to be fully allocated in a cash position to prepare yourself for such a crash. I think to diversify is very important. So how Bitcoin is going to react when the market is going to crash, that is going to be a very big surprise, because it can go either way. We have seen in the past Bitcoin is very correlated with the stock market, and maybe it's going to be correlated right now with entering that acceleration phase. But if the stock market collapses, I don't know if Bitcoin will be that correlated. I think there is a possibility. There is definitely a possibility where Bitcoin is going to take off, because the function of Bitcoin, that is not really concerned about altcoins, right? I do think that if the stock market crashes and we do see a recession, I think that altcoins will very much bleed, because they carry a high risk, and generally when we are seeing market corrections, the investors tend to go to assets that have a low risk, right? Precious metals have a low risk. Bitcoin in a scenario could also have a low risk, because if we get a situation where a lot of people want to flee certain countries, then you cannot bring a lot of money with you in terms of gold. It's easily confiscatable by for example government or border patrol, whatever. But if you take Bitcoin, this is very easy. So I think a lot of Russians did that too. A lot of Russians left Russia, and you see them also often in Indonesia or different parts of the world. They often bring crypto with them, and that's the function and safety of crypto, is that you can actually just have a 12-word key phrase in your head or written down somewhere, and then travel to the other side of the world and start a new life. You cannot bring like a backpack of gold with you. Maybe depends a little bit on your personal situation, and from which country to which country you're going, but it's easy to travel with Bitcoin, and that is a use case. And that is a use case in a world with a lot of turmoil. Because if there wouldn't be any turmoil, and if it would be allowed to just travel around with money, and you could trust the banks, and you can just have money in your bank account, then there wouldn't be a function for Bitcoin, right? So if everything would be so stable right now, then the price of Bitcoin wouldn't be that high. So the reason that Bitcoin is so bullish is because there are so many turmoil in the world going on, so much instability and insecurity for a lot of people, that they fly to a asset like Bitcoin. So therefore there is a chance that Bitcoin is not going to react as a risk on asset, but that it's actually going to react as a risk off asset, something that we haven't really seen that much in the past. But now it's also very interesting, because we know the presidential elections are coming up, and every one of you have seen it, of course. The former president, Mr. Trump, got shot. He got hit in his ear. It's actually, I was mind blown when I saw that. It's not that surprising with the state of the world right now, and the demonization, and just the way that people think. Of course, it's like you could expect it, right? But still, it's kind of crazy how it happened, and that he just got hit in his ear. And yeah, bro, it's kind of like a wake-up call. Like, yo, what the F is going on in the world, right? And also makes you doubt again, like, that actually sets the tone for the craziness, what can happen right now afterwards. But the reaction of crypto with that event is also pretty crazy, because Trump is actually quite pro crypto. He got shot in the air. He gets shot on stage for a audience of, I don't know how many people were watching that, or how many people afterwards have seen that video. It's a crazy event that took place. Like, I don't even have, like, I'm pretty shocked. I'm personally actually pretty shocked by that event, even though one could say, hey, you could expect that. I'm still actually was pretty shocked by that. But crypto reacted pretty good, because Trump is pro crypto. The chances that he becomes the president right now is definitely increasing. He came out like a hero. After this event. That's what I think. So to summarize a little bit my message in today's video, to summarize it a little bit, I think crazy times are ahead, and I think everyone on the planet is feeling that. We all feel that. We all feel like the market is reaching a certain extreme, but it's not only the market. It's the emotional state. It's the state of the world society, of everyone on the planet. We are going into a phase where things are going to accelerate. It's going to get more and more crazy than what we have seen in the past years, although past years were already like freaking crazy. It's going to get even more crazy. The markets are going to reflect that. Crypto is going to reflect that. And you got to make the right decisions in order to preserve your wealth, right? So if you are scared of a market crash, I would definitely say don't be invested all in the stock market. I have some assets in the stock market that I'm planning to sell in the coming months, depending a little bit on what the price action does, but I'm planning to sell that in the coming months. I'm planning to diversify my assets a little bit more, so whenever one market crashes, you still have some other assets laying around. I want to have hard assets, so I would like to have hard assets, Bitcoin, not always on an exchange. I want to have it physical Bitcoin on a ledger. I want to have physical gold, physical silver. These are things that I think are important to buy, because you cannot really go wrong with that, because the moment you buy it, even though things are not going good, like the chances that gold loses 50% of its valuation, or Bitcoin loses 50% of its valuation, is pretty low. It's actually pretty low, I would say personally, but maybe you have a different opinion. But if you, for example, are 50% allocated in the stock market, you have actually a chance that will be sliced through 50%. And I don't know if you've seen my video about the Great Takening with David Webb, where he actually talks about a huge conspiracy from the elite to right now take away the wealth of the whole world. Then everyone knows probably about the names that I'm talking about. If you haven't seen that video, watch that video. But that video, and David actually says that everything you have, for example, on the stock market, on your bank account, is you never truly own yourself. You don't really own it. You don't own it. So you have a stock market, but you have a paper that says you have the right at certain amount of stocks that the bank is holding for, not even the bank, but that the bank carries and some other institution is holding. But there's actually, if the bank goes bankrupt, or something happens, the right for them to take your stocks is there. So you never truly own these stocks. And that's the same with money in the bank, right? Like we all seen it in Greece. For example, in Europe, there was an example. My parents had an example in 2008 where they had a certain bank, and then when we had the housing market crash, phone call, sorry, the money that you had in the bank right now, the savings are gone. Those are gone. In Greece, nobody could take cash out of the ATMs for a period of time. The money is empty. right? So that's also because we are always trusting these third parties with our hard-earned money. That is actually also pretty stupid. But what I'm trying to say is that take in mind that it's also possible that you cannot trust these things. So when diversifying into different assets and when preparing for when preserving your wealth, you got to think about that too. You got to think about, hey, how can I preserve my wealth and really preserve my wealth? So if the bank goes bankrupt and I got all my money in the bank, then it's also not that safe, right? Of course, you can have some money in the bank. Maybe you want to have some money cash. Maybe you want to have some different currencies that you buy. Maybe you want to have some physical precious metals, your Bitcoin that you own. Don't leave everything on an exchange. Don't do that. We have all seen what happened with FTX, right? A lot of people had all their money on the exchange. Don't do that. Take only the money that you trade, or maybe some altcoins. For me personally, I have like a lot of my altcoins on an exchange, but Bitcoin and Ethereum and maybe some altcoins I always have on wallets that I 100% control, that cannot be taken down by a third party. So yeah, guys, that's my rant a bit for today in this beautiful countryside right here in Holland. I got a gift for all of you coming soon, maybe in a couple of days. I've been thinking about what, like the phase that we are in the bull market, and I've been thinking as well about how I can help the community, how I can help you guys. And I came to a certain conclusion, which I'm not going to share right now, but I will share with you in the next couple of days, probably, maybe in 1 week, depends a bit. I'm not that active. I'm not that active anymore making videos. I just want to make videos where I think like, hey, this is a really important message that I want to share. So that's why I make today's video as well. But yeah, I probably have a gift for you guys, for every single one of you in the next weeks ahead. So make sure to subscribe, make sure to like this video, so all the community that is with me already since 2018, 2019 can get up to date by that, because I think the next months are going to get crazy, and it's really nice when everyone can get some help. And can get some help to not getting wrecked and get some guidance in the markets. So I think that's important. Guys, I want to thank you all for watching. It has been almost 23 minutes. Let me know what you think down below in the comment section. I've been talking about that 16-year cycle, and these cycles, I've been talking about it so many times. And when Bitcoin was consolidating at the all-time highs, I was a bit doubting, yeah, we are pretty early in that 16-year cycle. Maybe it's not going to happen. Maybe we are going to see a regular 4-year cycle. That's still possible. But when I see the stock market right now going into this acceleration, I still think like, okay, but still possible. We are going to see that 16-year cycle occur, where we now see an acceleration in the stock market. We're going to see an acceleration in Bitcoin and crypto. That acceleration, things can happen really fast. Price can go up really high, really fast. Once you know, every time Bitcoin breaks all-time high, shit hits the fan. It gets crazy. So it's still possible to see that 16-year cycle, and that we are going to top in the bull market this year. That is definitely possible. I want to monitor that closely. We are doing that with multiple charts, and I will keep you guys posted on my opinion. So yeah, again, thank you all for watching. Wish you all a beautiful day, and hope to see every single one of you in the next video. Bye bye.